All right, guys, so last week's episode, we started working on the old 1999 Nitro bass boat here. If you missed that episode, be sure to go check it out. We installed some really cool lights all the way around the interior of the boat. They've got an actual dual light purpose. They'll do blue and white. So with a push of a button, we can change the colors, and it lit this boat up like a freaking UFO. It's a lot of lights. I may be adding a dimmer switch to it just so I can turn them up and down, but those are really cool. This week, I told you I was waiting on some other stuff so we could actually dial everything in. And I believe everything is here. Everything except for my battery trays. And I decided to, while I was waiting on this, after I filmed that last video with you guys, I decided to overhaul the entire rear hatch of the boat. When I overhauled this boat, I kind of just kept the battery compartment, you know, the dirty area of a boat, the way it was. And since I started rewiring the boat the last week with y'all, I decided I was just going to change it. So I'm going to show you in a minute. I gutted everything out of there except for the fuel tank. I cleaned it, scrubbed it really well, and now I'm sealing it up and painting it white so it'll look good. And we've got lights and stuff that we're going to be adding. I'm going to show you, before I show you that back there though, I want to show you the stuff that we're going to be adding in this week's video. It's really cool stuff, and our technology has came so far since the back in the days when these boats come with turn knobs, you know, to control live wells and stuff. Now you can put some really nice push button LED RGB controllers in these things and just have, you know, buttons to push just like a brand new boat would have. And you can do it pretty cheap. Everything I'm installing today came from Nylite. If you've never heard of Nylite, I'll have it linked in the video description, nylite.com. They sent out everything for this project. I got some USB ports. I got an 8-gain switch panel. You can go to their website. You can build anything you want, really. ATVs, UTVs, boats, trucks, off-road vehicles. They got all kind of stuff from light bars to switch panels to controls to winches. They got everything on there. Go check them out. I'll have it linked in the video description. But today we're going to be installing their 8-gain RGB switch controller along with a bunch of the lights they sent for the interior hatches. We just did the deck last week. This week I'm going to be trying to figure out where we're going to put lights so that I can light up the interior of the hatches. And I've got some USB ports. I got one other thing that I don't know if I may incorporate it, I may not. But they also had what I thought was really cool. They have a push button start. It's like it was just a push button, you know, to crank stuff. And I had them send it to me because I'm thinking about deleting the key on this boat and just having it where I can just push start this thing. I don't know. I'm going to look further into it and see how well it would work with this old boat. Some of these old boats are, you know, it'd take a lot more than just throwing the switch in to make it work. But let me show you what I got really quick, and then we're going to get started installing this thing. I think I got a good spot where I want to put this push panel over by the console. I want to keep everything looking factory and just have this tucked to the side. I don't want to, you know, mess up any of the old school look of this thing. I tell you what, since last week's video, I slowly just started making a huge mess cleaning all this out. But as you can see, I've only got one coat. I put that coat on last night. I'm going to do another coat. That is just like a Kills multi-purpose primer that I'm putting down. And I just want to do it to clean it up, mainly seal it up really good. I wish I'd have got a before shot of how this thing looked. It was rough. I pulled out all the battery trays, and that's what I'm waiting on now. I've actually ordered me all new battery trays to go back in it. These are the new trolling motor batteries that I showed you guys in last week's video. I just got them over here charging while I've got them out of the boat. And then I've got my graphs. Everything runs off that lithium for my graphs. And I still got this old lead acid for cranking, which I may upgrade before this week's out, before I move the boat back up to the garage. I just want to make sure that this is all done. And the reason I kind of tackled this is I was redoing all of my wires for my bilge pump and my, you know, that flow right system that I showed you guys last week. I ran all new wires. I can't even show them to you because I got them all tucked. You can kind of see them laying under here. And I've got everything ran to under the console because I plan on putting that switch panel here. But I was in there messing with the pumps, rewiring everything, because if you recall, if you watched last week's video, this is what I added. I didn't do it in the video, but I told you guys I'd show you how it turned out. This is that live well pump out kit. It works great now. All I got to do is pull that little lever on the inside of the live well, and it'll go from aerating to pumping the water straight out. So I'm rewiring all that, and when we're done, we're going to have a push button to control the live well and the live well lights that we installed and everything else. But let me show you what we're going to be installing, and then I'm going to get to work. How's that? Can I just set y'all right there for a minute? So as for the hatch lights, everything, like I said, come from LiTime. And LiTime, I've bought stuff from them before. Actually, when I built Trailer Swift, I bought a lot of stuff from LiTime. And they had reached out to me wanting to work with me, and I told them this would be a pretty good project. They have these really thin lights. These are LED lights. I believe they're a 3 or a 4 inch. I'll have everything linked in the video description. But you can see these are the ones that I'm going to use inside all of the hatches. And you can see how thin they are. Look how thin that light is. So I should be able to mount it really, really shallow. It comes with the screws and everything you need to mount these up. It even comes with a peel and stick adhesive, just in case you wanted to stick it somewhere. So I got a bunch of the whites. Those are all whites. I got a pack of 10 of whites. And then I've also got some blues, because I think I want to add some blue lights in some of these hatches for nighttime. The ones that I'm in and out of at night, I'd rather have like a blue light instead of a big blinding white light. So I got a bunch of those. Also from LiTime, I got some USB ports, because I like to keep my phone charged and I film with you guys, and I like to be able to keep my GoPros and stuff plugged up. I hope this camera angle is okay for you guys. So they've got some really nice flush mount USB ports. These are actually 3.0 ports, and there's 2 of them in there. They've got the little waterproof lid. I'm going to install these right over beside where my phone goes, and then I'm going to install one up where the camera usually mounts. And they come with everything you need to get them mounted up. Paperwork and everything's in this box. They even got their own inline fuse with their wires. So if you order a USB port from LiTime, you'll get more than just the port. You get everything you need to install the port, which is cool. I got 2 of those, and then I showed you this. I destroyed the box opening it. This is the little start button, and I may install this. I don't know. I had them send it to me because I seen it on their website, and I don't like using the key on this boat because I have driven all the way to the river before and left my key sitting on my workbench before. So I got the habit of just leaving it in the boat. So it's always hanging from the console anyway. And it would be, you know, nobody's going to steal my boat. I say that, and then somebody's going to steal my boat. But just having a push button to crank it might be pretty cool. So I might install that. I'm going to look into it and see if it'll actually work with this old boat. But the main thing we're going to be installing is this guy right here. This is the RGB 8-gang switch panel from LiTime. This thing is really cool. So this is the fuse panel this comes with. It comes with a 8 fuse panel, and each one of these goes to one of the buttons on the controller that we're going to be installing. It's got all the waterproof connections, all the wires, the fuses, everything you need to get it installed. But look how nice this fuse panel is that it comes with. This is nicer than the Nitro fuse panel that came with this boat back in '99. Once I get it all installed, I'll try to give you a shot of what the one on this boat actually looks like. That's how far our technology has come. You know, we can just order something like this and replace the old worn out stuff, and this stuff is really good quality. And what's neat about hooking one of these up is I don't have to run a bunch of wires to the controller. This is going to be our controller, and this is going to flush mount beside the console. I'm going to do it so that it looks factory on the boat. I don't want anything to look out of place. I mean, it is a 99, and this didn't exist in 99, but I'm going to try to make it look nice and factory. But you mount it, and you get one wire that runs to your fuse panel. So all those wires that you guys seen me run last week, they're all up under the console. They're all going to be trimmed and fed to this. I'm going to wire loom everything up so that it looks good. And then one of these will go for my deck lights. I'll have one for my deck lights, the white ones, and then one for the blue ones. And then I'll have my live well pumps, and then I'll have my navigation lights, and everything is going to go to this new switch panel, or this new fuse box that sends all the signals to the switch panel. And you get a really long cord. This is what you plug from your switch panel to your actual fuse box there. Sorry, I'm thinking too fast trying to show you guys everything. It comes with really nice mounts. You can mount these in several different ways. I'm probably going to flush mount it. Maybe. I may end up using this mount, but they got this one so you can mount it and then aim it or angle it however you want it. comes with its own inline. It's probably a 50 amp fuse that's in there. I can't tell because I can't see. And all the wires, your negative wires, your mounts, and everything you need. And it should have, where are my stickers? It should be, there they are. I know this, the buttons, and then you got more brackets, all kind of different ways to mount everything. This is even a bracket designed to be able to mount their fuse box. So I'll be able to hang this in there and mount their fuse box wherever I need to mount it. But this is what I was digging out. Check this out. They upgraded their sticker list. And these stickers, once you don't have to program this RGB switch panel or anything. Well, you can program it. Actually, each button will do 3 different functions. You can do it as a 1 click will turn it on, 1 click will turn it off. You can have it so if you click it and hold it, it's doing something, but when you let off, it stops doing it. And then there's a 3rd function where you hit it and let off and it will flash. So if you want to do a strobe light or something like that, you can actually hit it and it'll do that. It'll flash it on and off. But you can program it that way and you can change the colors of the buttons and everything. But what's really neat is when you install something like this, your wires and these are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 8. And then this is 1, let's see, am I upside down? I am. It's 1 through 4 and then 6 through 8, right? Or 5 through 8 down here. And what you do is just you correlate it with the fuse, and then say one of these is going to be the live well. You find the sticker that says live well, and they sell other packs, so you can get all kind of crazy different stickers to put on here. But you just find the sticker, you peel it off, and then it goes right here. I've installed these. If you follow the channel, you guys know my Banger camper shell. I've got a 12-button switch panel on it. My UTV that we run, I've got a 12 on it. My truck, I've got an 8 panel just like this in my truck. So I've got tons of these stickers actually that we should be able to go through, and I'm just going to label them, figure out what I want to go where, and then run everything, and then that's it. I've got to wait on the battery trays to get here to actually put the batteries back in and run power, but it's going to take me a while to get all the wiring cleaned up and looking good. So I'm going to get to work. I'm not going to be able to film with my head sticking up under that console to get this thing mounted, but I'm going to get this thing mounted up and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Just a minute. All right, guys, it has been about 2 weeks since I filmed that last clip that you just watched me film. We got hit by a crazy Arctic blast here in the South. I live in Alabama, so we were hit. We're not used to that kind of stuff, so everything shut down. Everything that I was waiting to be delivered took forever to get here, but I finally got it done. So this video is probably going to be a week or 2 after the last Nitro video from the one that you guys just watched on my channel. But I'm happy to say everything is installed and it looks great. So I'm going to show you how I wired this thing up really quick, show you all the interior lights that I put in, how I mounted the fuse box, how I flush mounted the actual button system over there. I don't know if you can see it where it's at. And I finally got my battery trays. They finally got here in the mail. Everything's buttoned up, and I'm going to walk you guys through the buttons and show you how I programmed them to run everything on this boat. And I no longer have to rely on those old 1999 turn knobs. I also got sick during these last 2 weeks, so if my voice sounds a little bit different, I think I'm on the back end side of it now. But let me show you guys how everything turned out. As you can see, there's the new switch panel mounted right there in the side. I didn't want to mess up any of my stuff up here, and I'll show you what I was going to do. I actually made something to put it here, and then I changed my mind and I ended up moving it to there. But first, let me show you the fuse box. I actually mounted it over here. It's gonna be hard for me to get it in here, but I'm gonna show you. There is the Nylite fuse box, and if you've never installed one of these, it's super easy. Each of these fuses run your black and white wires. So I got a black and white running to one thing, and then another thing, and another thing, and everything goes to here. And then you only have one wire that goes from here to the switch panel. Let me shut this back up. But I decided to mount it in this box instead of under the dash, because the factory, I guess I can leave that open. The factory one is under the dash. I told you guys I'd try to show you what it looks like. So let's see. Can you guys see that? There's the factory fuse panel. And you can tell it's outdated, but I hid all the wires. I mean, it's going to look kind of bulky up under here because I got you guys all the way up under it, but it's all completely hidden. You can't see any of the wires or anything like that where it's ran. And I kept all the factory buttons, so all of these are still here, but they don't do anything anymore. They're just here. There's my bilge, and then there's the 2 pumps, and then over here I still got my nav lights. They don't do anything. I just left them there because I didn't want to mess up the look of my console. As you can see, if I can back you up, it looks really good even though it's really old, the way I was able to mount my dual graphs using my catch hardware and a track system. So I was able to kind of update that a little bit. And then here is the switch panel. And the way I did this, and the way you do this in a vehicle, is on that fuse box, there's one red wire that comes out that you would run to your switch, so that when you turn your switch on to ACC, you know, the accelerator or whatever, accessory, I'm sorry, you turn it to accessory, and then you can operate your stuff in the vehicle. What I did is I ran that red wire to a little switch right here that I did put in the dash, and then I put the USB port right here beside it. And then if I flip this on, it turns power on to the switch, and now this switch has power. It's not lit up right now because I hadn't started using it, but as soon as you start using it, it'll light up. And I'll show you guys the app in a minute. You can change the colors of this to any color in the rainbow and make it, you know, kind of custom to what you're putting it in. But as you can see, I've got water. This says fish box pump, so this puts water in my tanks. This is my recirculator pump. This is my bilge pump. This is my interior lights. So I did go ahead and install interior lights in almost all the hatches. I did this hatch, the middle hatch, and I didn't do these back here, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But I did get all the lights on the interior, so at night I can kick that on when I'm getting tackle or a rod out and see what I'm doing. And then this is my deck lights. And I've got the lights on in the shop, but I'm sure you can see these. These are super bright. And that turns on the white deck lights. And then this one beside it, it says right here, interior lights number 1. And you turn that on, and now I've got my blue lights lit up. I can't wait to see what this looks like on the water at night with these blue lights. But everything is push button right here, and I've even got this one that says live well down here. So these are all my lights, and I put this live well button here to turn it on. And as you can see, I got those nice lights inside my live well now. How cool is that? I'll turn it off really quick so you can see the difference. Now they're off. And then let me see if I can hold you here, and I'll turn them back on. On and off. And it's lit up pretty good in my studio right now. That's why you can't tell a huge difference, but I promise you, when it's dark, that light is going to come in handy, and I'll be able to see the fish on the inside of the hatch. Let me turn that off. And I've got my, this seat is all squeaky. I cleaned my leather seats, and now they're all squeaky. So this is my nav lights. I no longer have to mess with my switch over here. Now I've got this one programmed for nav lights. I hit that. Let me turn it off, and I'll aim the camera at my light bar on my light pole. See my light right there? And I'll run one of those LED stick lights. So I've got a remote, so it'll do different things. It'll change colors and stuff like that. And then I've also got, I'll leave them on and see if I can show you up here. I've got flush mount running lights on the front. See, there's my green, and then there's my red right there. You can see it without me falling off the boat. And now I'll show you my interior lights. So I turn my nav lights on and off with a push of a button. Now if I go back here to where it says interior, see if I can get it closer. Turn that on, and now it's really hard to tell. I guess I need to turn the lights off in here so you can see them. See, I installed one there. I put 3 in this one because this is my tackle. This is where I'll be in most of the time. You can see I got them back here hidden up under this lip so that I'm not looking directly at an LED light. It just lights up the area. And then my rod box over here, I got it empty. But you can see I got a light in there right now. Let me turn these lights off really quick, and I'll show you how bright these actually are. All right, I got the hatches open right now with the lights off. Got the live well open with the lights off. And now I guess I can show you how this looks here, how clean that looks.
So now if I hit the interior lights, look at the difference. Look at that. Now I'll be able to get in and out of my hatches with no problem at all. How cool is that? I only did one in these because I'm not going to be in them often, and that one light should help me plenty at night to get stuff out of those. This is my main box that I'm constantly in and out of getting tackle. So that is going to be great. I'll show you the live well lights. Let me aim it over here at it. Bam, look at that. How cool is that? $19.99 nitro. Got something like this in it. Just makes a world of difference. Night fishing is going to be completely different for me now. I'll turn these off and I'll show you my nav lights. How bright that thing is. That is a great nav light. I got a video on that nav light on my channel if you check it out. If I remember, I'll link that video in the video description of this video. But you can see how bright my running lights up here are too. Now look at that. You can just see by my floor. Look at that glow on each side. I installed those, I think, when we redid this boat. All right, now let me kick the lights back on and I'll show you how this app works. All right, I'm gonna try to set you guys right there and then not shake the boat too much. I want you to be able to see the Nightlight controller right here in action. So when you install it, once you get everything hooked up, you can download the app, and then the app pops up on your phone, and then boom, I've got a controller on my phone that I can operate everything. And if you listen close, hopefully you can hear that. That's my pump, my water pump coming in. You should be able to see the lights though. Oh, that's my interior lights. Let's see, where's my deck lights? There's my deck lights. I don't know if y'all can see them, but I just kicked all my deck lights on. Let me turn this back around. I can switch the blue ones, and you can see my controller's lighting up right there as I'm touching this. So now I'll turn my nav lights on. Boom. Now my nav lights are on, and this lights up in correlates with the buttons that I'm pushing on here. And then you can hit the little gear icon, and then you can change the switch icons right here. And you can just pick the button you want to change, and then there's a ton of different options to set. You know, if you're putting this on a dune buggy or your four-wheel drive truck or a boat or whatever, you got the stickers to set up. So then if you go back here, I'll show you how you can change the color. Let's see, set switch color, and you get this rainbow right here. And if you drag this rainbow around, like I've got mine set up, hopefully you guys can see it, it's blue right now. I can go to green and hit the button. Let's see. Oh, hit save. Are you sure you want to save? Yes. And now, as you can see, it turned it completely green. Let me set you right here and you can see a little bit better as I change it. Maybe, if I can hold the phone. Trying to do this with just two hands is a little tough. All right, I'm going to change the color while you guys are sitting there. Let's see, switch color. I'll pull it over to red, or let's say that's orange. Boom. Look at that, just changed it to orange. I like the blue because the blue isn't too bad at night. So I usually run most of my stuff on like this lighter blue color, like that. I really like that blue. It looks really good. Now I'll show you what I was gonna make to put the switch panel here and how I make stuff like that. I do it for kayaks and stuff. I kind of design my own stuff out of that boat board. And I took the time, I took like probably half a day, and I designed something and I mounted that switch panel right here so that it looked factory. But I didn't like it because, as you can see, the steering wheel's kind of in the way. So the buttons were there, and you have to reach behind the steering wheel to operate it, and I didn't like that. So right here ended up being a really, really good spot. But I'll show you what I made. So I made this thing, and it turned out pretty good. I was kind of proud of it. This is a boat board. I think it's about 3/8 of an inch thick, but I took this plate off. As you can see, this is the same exact shape, and the screw holes just line right up to where that would go. And I took a router, I recessed it, I mounted it in here. All this stuff you're seeing poking out, that is silicone. Where I had this thing mounted. I siliconed it in and everything, and it looked really good. It's just I wasn't happy with the way the buttons were. Like you can see, hopefully you guys can see that when I put it there and I mounted the controller flush, it looked really good. It looked factory, but just me having to reach around the steering wheel to do the buttons, I didn't like that. So I ended up putting that back on there, and this was just, you know, you live and you learn. So I made it and didn't use it. But this thing worked out really good. Here's my USB port that I installed, and it's just right there. I run my phone right here on a quad lock, so I'm able to just plug my phone up. I run cameras right here. This is a dual USB port, so I'm able to run power up to a camera and charge my phone off the same thing. And this switch right here controls all of that. I turn that switch off, and it turns power off completely to that fuse box that we installed from Nylite up under there. But this thing turned out good. It's a great upgrade. If you're restoring an old boat, you can pick this up. A couple of lights, a couple $100, you can really rewire and modernize your old boat that you're trying to restore and make it look good and make it worth, you know, the function and purposes are great now. I can't wait to be able to use these out on the lake this spring. Now, as for designing and making stuff custom, you know, like I just told you guys, I use a lot of this boat board stuff. As a matter of fact, I'll show you my little junk shelf I got here in my shop. This whole shelf down here is just pieces of boat board material that I've used to make, you know, stuff. There's a rod tube, but I just use to make custom stuff, you know, for my kayaks and my boats over the years. And I'm fixing to make, let me turn you guys back around. I'm fixing to make a change. Well, I'll still do that when I need to do that, but I got something in that you guys are going to be seeing pretty soon. I'm going to give you a sneak peek right now. I got this bad boy in this week. That is the new Chitty Q2 3D printer, and it's going to do multiple colors. I ordered a bunch of filament, and I ordered some ASA filament, which if you 3D print, you know that's the stuff that you would want to use on boats or RVs. That stuff is really good in weather, like the sun won't mess it up. So it's perfect for designing stuff to put on your boats or, you know, your outdoor toys. And one of the things that we're gonna do soon, one of my first things is these caps. See this little cap? That's where my seat post goes. And I didn't like, when I'm not running my seat post, these nitros have big holes. They don't have the little regular, you know, post. As you can see, I don't know if you can see the post sticking up on my seat right there is really wide. I think it's almost 2 inches. And I didn't like that big hole there. So last year, I got my dad to 3D print me a plug to go in there. And I was like, man, I got to get one of those 3D printers. So I got one. I'm going to be playing with it and learning it soon. And we're going to make some custom inlaid nitro plugs for this. And then I'm also going to use it to make some, I mainly got it for the trailer that we're building, the camper trailer, which I know a lot of you guys are eager for me to start working on that 5x8 trailer again. It's just been too cold. That Arctic blast hit, and I was like, there's no way. I'm staying in here and I'm working inside until it warms up a little bit, but the weather should be back right here in a week or two, and I've got everything ready to start pumping out some content and hopefully finish that tiny camper so we can actually use it this year. I got a long way to go, but I've got a lot of stuff done to it, and a lot of stuff's here. And that's the main reason I picked up that 3D printer, is because I've got some really cool custom stuff that I'm going to design and maybe share with you guys. Maybe you can use some of my designs and I can share the files, but we're going to make some really cool stuff for that trailer. I'll be glad when this cold is gone. I'm on the bottom end of it. I'm almost through it, but it's still right here in my chest and bottom of my throat. But guys, that's probably going to do it for a while on the nitro build. This thing turned out great. For those of you who have been with me through this whole build, I hope you know that, you know, you've seen it from the day I got it to what it looks like now. This thing has done a complete 360. I am currently on the hunt for another boat build that I want to do with you guys. I got to find the right boat with the right motor. The condition don't really matter. I want to get something in here that we can completely restore with you guys and walk you guys through again. The carpet, the seats, you know, the wiring and all that stuff. I think it's fun. I enjoy doing stuff like that. So I'm on the hunt for that. I don't want to get one too soon because, like I mentioned, we got to finish the tiny camper build. Got a lot of stuff here. Everything's piled up at the door waiting to go out into that once it warms up. So stay tuned for that, guys. If you're new, I upload every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time right here on the channel. If you want to watch my videos early, you can hit the join button. It's right there next to that subscribe button. If that subscribe button up under my video is red and says subscribe, you're not subscribed. So hit that button. You might think you're subscribed, but maybe YouTube just recommends my videos to you every week because you watch them, and you need to hit that subscribe button. It helps out a lot. If you want to join, watch the videos a little bit early with my members, just hit that join button up under here. I got a lot of cool stuff coming this year. I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be well enough soon and we can knock out a whole bunch of content with you guys.
But anyway, guys, y'all check out Nylite. I'll have their links in the video description. Most of the stuff is Amazon links, so you can order the Nylite products directly from Amazon. I'll have links to everything I used in this video right in the description. So get what you need there. If you need any help or tips or tricks, just hit me up in the comments, and I will catch you guys next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace.